Okay. Okay, so we will get started then. So Happy New Year, everyone. I think I've seen you all since the new year, but Happy New Year again. And Happy New Year to those who are joining us from home. Glad you could be here with us. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 7:02 p.m. For our Committee of the Whole for Monday, January 9th. 2023, although I will be writing 2022 consistently on all of my communication for the next couple of months. That's how I roll. So, do we have any items to add to the agenda?
Nothing for me. I would like to add just a brief discussion on the boundary review.
Yep. An update on your open houses?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks.
Boundary review open houses update. And then, are there any other items? I will note that community acknowledgements includes December Volunteer of the Month, but of course, as usual, if there are any additional acknowledgements, we can cover them at that time. So if there's no further items, then I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Oh, okay. I think Councillor Melanie raced you to that one.
That's all good.
So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. And before we continue, I did want to mention that Deputy Warden Brent Sampson has sent his regrets for this evening. He couldn't be here with us this evening. So, all right. So a review of the minutes from December 12th, 2022. Could I have a motion to approve if there are no errors?
I move to approve the minutes of December 12th.
Thank you, Councillor.
And Councillor Melanie confirmed there was no errors. So I will second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on the minutes from December 12th? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Okay, so we have a bit of new business to start off the evening, and this is related to the Babbins Hill Lookoff. We did have a memo from Chris, so thank you, Chris, for your work on that. And it included some costing information and a bit of a recommendation from staff about potential next steps for the Lookoff. So, I mean, the recommendation right now is that it be deferred to budget for, for further instruction to staff, because there are going to be some costs associated if we do proceed with work there. I'm open for discussion from council on that, or questions if you have any for staff.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So we'll look for a motion to refer the Babbins Hill Lookoff estimates to budget.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Mike Digdon.
I'll second that motion.
Councillor Sean Sampson, thank you. So it is that the estimated cost to carry out the work to expand Babbins Hill Lookoff by 40 meters west and along Highway 206 be deferred to the 2023-2024 budget deliberations. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, so the next item on the agenda is, community acknowledgements. And of course, we do have Volunteer of the Month, and I believe that's for December, if I'm getting that correct. So the Volunteer of the Month this year is Joelle. Sorry, I'm just getting this loaded up here. Joelle Boudreau, who is a key player in the yearly Christmas displays on Lundrigan Lane in Petit de Gras. Joelle's display of Christmas blow molds is one that he takes great pride in showcasing to the community, and he keeps the public informed of the progress of the lane on social media and encourages everyone to come and participate in the opening event each year. He also, it's mentioned here that he leads the Christmas tree lighting event at the Petit de Gras ball field, and without a doubt, his efforts boost our Christmas spirit each year. I will confess that I have not yet been to Lundrigan Lane at Christmas, so I need to remedy that next year for sure. But want to thank Joel for all that he does and offer our congratulations. So I don't know, Councillor Sean Sampson, I know this is your backyard.
Yeah. So for me, this is a big coincidence because when it comes to community acknowledgements, I was going to acknowledge the Lundrigan Lane light up, and also the Petit de Gras baseball field light up event as well that Joel works very hard on. So Yeah, I was going to acknowledge that anyway. So I guess I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. The first thing I'm going to do is acknowledge and recognize and congratulate Joel for being the volunteer of the month for December and thank him for everything he does. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to speak for Joel because working with him the last couple of years and working closely with him, I know that it would be safe for me to say that Joel would be the first one to say that it's not all about him, right? And he doesn't want to take all that credit because it's all about the families and the neighbors that are down Lundgren Lane, and it's also about the volunteers that work with him for the baseball field light up as well, right? So when you look down the lane, you have the Boudreau family, of course, Joel and his family, and the Marchands, the Gayeshes, the Sampsons, and also the Fougères, who is married into the Marchand family, right? And I know Joel would want me to mention Don Fougère, right? So Don Fougère is the son-in-law of the late Barry and Louise Marchand. So Don has taken over that work on the other side of the road, Don would call it. And the reason I say that is that I was down there this season and talking to Joel, and we were in the middle of the road, and Don was doing some work on his side, and they started chirping each other and do this, and you're doing that, and I'm doing this, and at the end of it, I don't recall the whole conversation, but at the end of it, Don says, "You just worry about your side, and I'll worry about my side." And I recall leaving there saying, "What a great event!" And two guys and families and everything that it's friendly competition, but it's so great for the community, right? So for me, I know Joel. When you look at the word community, and you break down the word community, it has the word unity in it. So I know Joel would want me to thank everybody that unites with him down that lane and unites with him down at the Peterborough Ball Field to make those events what they are. So I want to thank everybody involved and congratulate Joel as well, right? So.
Awesome. Well said, Councillor. Very well said. Now I'm especially sad that I didn't get down there this year.
It's so awesome.
Yeah,
I need to go.
It's a sight to see, yeah, for sure. It's a sight to see. And every year they put out a donation box at the road, so people drop
great.
donations, and every year they pick a different charitable organization or charity to give it to. And I think this year was for people in need of oil. So, if people were struggling with their oil bill, they would, find these people or, and yeah. So it's a great event, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. All right. I did have an additional acknowledgement. Thank you, Councillor. Is there any others? And I know that we don't normally, acknowledge those who have passed around our table, but I did want to mention the passing of Eva Landry of Sampsonville. She's a recipient of the Order of Canada, Order of Nova Scotia, the Queen's Jubilee Medal, huge into 4-H and involved with the McCaskill Museum, originally from here in Almadam, Cap-Laurent. And she loved her community and was such a very active volunteer. I felt it would be remiss to be here this evening without mentioning that she has passed away. And certainly set an example of what community builders can do to bring a special je ne sais quoi, as she used to call it, to the community. That's exactly what she said to me when I asked her what is it that Village on the Canal Association does many, many years ago when they were looking for me to join. She said, we bring the je ne sais quoi to the community. I said, okay, I'm in, and it was just that kind of welcoming and kind example that she set for everyone, and I hope folks can take, her family and friends can take some comfort in the legacy that she leaves behind, because it's quite a legacy indeed. So, okay. Are there any other community acknowledgements we would like to mention? Okay. Great. Well, thank you, everyone. The next item we have on the agenda then is correspondence, and we do have correspondence from Chris Boudreau, Director of Public Works, regarding a briefing note on the fleet vehicle purchase. So thank you again, Chris, for providing that information. And there's much detail in it. There's a recommendation that of course it's going to take some time for any vehicle to come in. but the order would need to be submitted sooner rather than later, as I understand it, Chris, in order for us to get it even within the next fiscal
Hopefully.
year. Yeah, hopefully. We've just
That's
talked
why we don't
about-
want to wait, right?
No, that's right, that's right. It's just with the supply chain issues we're experiencing right now, it's very difficult to get vehicles in the hands of the people who need them. So, so the suggestion here is that, there's a tendered cost of $72,369 plus HST, with the costs being incurred in the next fiscal, and to defer that to budget deliberation. Deliberation would kind of delay that. So I guess that you're looking for the approval of those funds at this stage of the
To
game.
go above the 50 to get up to the
Yeah.
cost so that we can order it now.
Exactly, yeah. So councillors, would you be in favor of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the motion then that you're seeking would be that council would approve the purchase of a new fleet vehicle tendered with a tendered cost of $72,369 plus HST, with the costs being incurred in 2023-24 fiscal year, and further move that the CAO be authorized to negotiate any increase in price resulting from supply of a 2024 model vehicle if no 2023 model is available at the time of order or delivery. So there may be a little bit of upwards movement on that, just because of the availability, and we do need a replacement urgently. So would councillors be in favor of that motion?
Yeah, I'd make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mike Digdon?
I'm sure the CEOs or Public Works is, just in purchasing vehicles over the years, if we can get to 2024 as opposed to the 2023 with very little cost, then we know to go to 2024, I would say.
If it's non-substantive.
Good. I'll definitely make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Mike Digdon. Could I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. It's not listed on your agenda, but we did have a previously added item. Oh, yes, it is, sorry. It's listed on the next page of my agenda, so
There
there
you
you
go.
go. That's what happens when you turn the page, magical things. So, anyway, it is an item that was added from Terry Smith, the CEO of Destination Cape Breton, regarding the marketing levy update. And really, essentially, we had passed a motion some time ago to support their recommendations, as you know. The idea is that we want a consistent bylaw drafted on Cape Breton Island among all 5 municipalities. And Destination Cape Breton is proposing taking the same approach that they took last time by hiring a lawyer and basically taking a lead on that. And in essence, it would be to update the current bylaw with the 3 amendments that councils have approved. So it sounded from Terry's communication like the other councils approved the same amendments that we did. So the outcome we're looking for here is that we would refer this item to bylaw and policy now, so that the matter can go directly there for a review and recommendation once Terry's information comes back from DCBA. So would councillors be okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so could I have a motion then to refer the municipality reckoning levy bylaw 60 to the bylaw and policy committee for review and recommendation?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is correspondence for information only. We had some correspondence from Municipal Affairs and Housing regarding the municipal planning strategies extension request. And that, of course, would have come through Mr. John Bain from the Eastern District Planning Commission. And they have extended our deadline to December 31st, 2023. And I think it just kind of acknowledges that the fact that progress is being made in this work. And it is saying that, there is a condition attached to it that a public participation program would need to be kind of put in place. So, any questions on that piece of correspondence? Okay. So the next item is Straight Richmond Palliative Care Society, acknowledgement of donation, and they are simply providing a note just to acknowledge our annual contribution to their efforts, and which is a small amount that we are able to contribute, I know, but for a huge effort that we get in return. So, so many thanks to those folks for the work that they do. Any questions on that item? Okay, and the last item for information only was just notification that we received from Everwind Fuels about their public comments period for their environmental assessment submission. And there's information that was provided to us, and I believe we were going to potentially pop that out on our social media.
And we put them in touch with the libraries within
Yes.
our area
Right.
so that they have those sites set up as well, and that was all done before Christmas.
That's great. So there's hard copies available for review in the county as well as digital copies available online. So any questions on the Everwind Fuels environmental assessment? Okay, and the deadline to provide written comments is January 18th. So, and it does say 2022, but I think it means 2023. I'm glad I'm not the only
It's almost
one.
like you wrote it.
It's almost like I wrote it. I knew it couldn't be just me. All right, if there's no questions, we'll move on to the next item, and that's the review of checks issued for December 2022. Are there any questions for staff on that, councillors?
Fine, we wrote a lot. No, just kidding.
End of the year.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Okay, next item then is the review of the action items. And I did have one update, is item 102. Troy and Shelley, I did finish the letter
Yep.
on the open road washouts, and I copied you folks on that today.
Yep.
It was something I was trying to coordinate with John McDonald and local public works staff as well on, and so we're still seeking that timeline. It is still not finished. Apparently there were some issues with the water levels, and so so hopefully now that the water levels have declined, we're able to see some work on that. Yeah, okay. Any other questions on the action items? Okay.
No, I'd like to thank Public Works for setting up the, you notice coming into West Area today, we have our little speed
signs.
sign set
I saw it
up,
there, yeah.
little speed trap.
Totally did not even notice that.
Nice.
There we are.
There you go, you blew right by it, eh?
Yeah.
You blew right by it. Oh, that's good.
Okay. I'll be on
Welcome to the,
lookout.
welcome to the county.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Chris. All right. Okay, any other, I think that's, any other questions on action items? Are we good to go there?
I think I had one that we were just looking for some clarity, because I think it
Okay.
predated both Shelley and I.
Okay.
And is that number 43 or number 49? No, 43 in column A. And we're just looking to see,
So a request from Marg Herdman
yeah,
for funding for 4 lighthouses and 1 governance panel at a cost of approximately $3,000 each. Be investigated by staff in collaboration with MLA Trevor Boudreau regarding funding opportunities, which could potentially be available to aid with the project. So that was from June 2022.
so Madam Warden, through
Yeah.
you to Councillor Dignan, was she part of that group that came in, that was doing the signs as well
No.
with you?
No,
Different
but
group
we kind of
altogether?
referred her to, they kind of referred to our group, but if I'm not mistaken, the last communication I had with Marg was that they were done,
Okay.
almost
Okay.
done. And I
So
don't
we'll
wanna take- I
follow
don't-
up with her
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then we can update the list.
That
Okay.
sounds great. Yep.
Beautiful, that's all we needed.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So the next item on the agenda is the items added, which is an update on the open houses for the boundary review. So Councillors Jean or Dickon, over to you.
Yeah, so, I guess, yeah, we've all heard the saying, learn from your mistakes, but, for me, I wouldn't say these are mistakes or anything like that. I'd just say, we're learning from the experience, and this is the first experience we've had with a boundary review, right? So, Councillor Digdon and I have had some public consultations here on the dam, just to get some public input, and, I think you guys received some emails today, you were probably on some emails, so just some questions on, whether or not we would have, had some public consultations first before we set the the wheels in motion for, the proposals that are now on the survey online. There's also concerns on, saying that the online survey is kind of not user-friendly. Some people don't have internet, There's questions about, whether or not we should have mailed this survey out in the mail. So there's lots of questions from residents, and, we're going to have our public consultation on Sunday, the 15th at 2:30 at the hall in the school. So I would invite anybody that has any questions or concerns when it comes to the boundary review that, they try to attend these meetings and have their voices heard. So just wanted to put that out there.
And I'm sorry, it was Sunday?
Sunday at
This
2:30.
this
Yeah,
one
this Sunday
coming.
the 15th, yeah, at the hall in the schools, yeah.
Okay.
At what time?
2:30?
2:30.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
Councillor Sean. And I know Councillor Melanie Sampson and I have been talking as well, and we're going to kind of co-host one, as you guys have been doing at the Grand Dance Legion
Okay.
on Saturday at, I think we said 1
1
p.m.
o'clock, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be making that information public, and, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I think, important to note that these, these consultations are things that, you both took upon yourselves to do, because they were kind of outside the scope of work that we had for the consultant, and same deal here.
Yeah.
Certainly will be supported by, appreciate the support of staff and all of that work as well. So.
Yeah. If
I mean,
you
I
need
think
maps, let us know.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think it's important to note as well, right, like that they're organized by counselors and the information is as interpreted by counselors as well, right? So I know, I just want, I guess, the public to understand that this is not, these sessions are not being hosted by the consultants. They are also not being hosted by the county per se. They are being hosted by counselors, and so,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and there was concern, we've had concerns on the survey is done on the 15th, correct, on Sunday, the
Right.
15th? And there's concerns that we didn't have any consultations in time for this survey to end on the 15th, but what people need to realize is that our deadline for our recommendation is February 5th, I assume, CEO?
Yeah, but you need to have your decision made at your council meeting on January 23rd.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that we
so-
can submit by that date in February.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we did have.
Unless we call a special meeting between the
Right.
23rd and February 5th, we can do it as well.
100% you can.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we still have time to have these public
Yeah.
consultations
Yeah.
and let the voices be heard and then go from there, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's a worthwhile effort.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
more we can do in that regard, the better. And I do want to be clear, though, that there were in-person
Yes.
advertised public in-person consultations held already as part of this process.
Right, like
They were
3 or
held.
4.
Yeah, we held
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, yeah. No, no, for sure.
and
But
I
they were
agree,
some
and
time ago.
I agree, and I'll be the first one to say that we did mention that. However, I'll also be the first one to say that, the feedback we got on the weekend was that I can tell you out of probably the 20 residents or 20-some residents that showed up at our last one, maybe 4 do Facebook. Maybe 5 at most. So 15 out of those 20 had no idea this was going on until we actually sent it out in a memo to the people that it still, even currently wasn't going on until they got the letter from Gloria Hill in the email to please go for the boundary review study. So
Right.
until it was actually physically from the community
Yeah.
to these people, they don't do Facebook, they don't do whatever, so therefore, they weren't even in the loop.
And I don't
But
remember how
I'm
those
pretty sure I'd
original
have to go
sessions-
back and look, I mean, but I'm fairly confident the ones that were in person were advertised through Telile and through other channels as well.
And the newspaper.
And the newspaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fairly confident they were, because they were in-person public consultations, that, I think that was our criteria at that time, was to ensure that it was advertised in means other than social media.
And maybe, I can honestly say, moving forward, again, I'm gonna say it's a learning curve because it's the first one we ever had to do. Moving forward, I don't think we take something on this big without sending a letter, a notice, something in the mail to every single mailbox. It's,
And
the
that's-
money it's
it's a good
costing us and the
point.
It's a good
time
point,
and
yeah.
the
Yeah.
change,
Yep.
the change and effect that it can have on the whole community is
Absolutely.
drastic. And to not let every single person get their voice heard
Yeah.
is just,
I think, I would agree with you on that point, and I think it's one of the reasons that, I think in the last meeting, we talked about our communications plan. We need to get
Yeah.
that, we need to get that nailed down.
That's right.
Because tactically, I feel like every time we have a study on the go with accessibility, with, boundary review, you name it, it feels like every consultant comes in with a different approach. We overlap what we think is important, but there's always cost constraint as well. And I do think we need consistently to recognize not everybody has internet, can get internet, not everybody has a computer, so we need to be, I think, practicing what we preach a little more on the accessibility side of things when we get the message out, about these kinds of things to the public. So, and I'm looking forward to a communications plan that really nails that down.
Yeah.
So
No, I
it's
agree.
consistent.
Yeah.
There's no more guesswork. There's a
Right.
formula. This is how
Yeah.
you communicate with the public in Richmond.
Yeah, exactly. I think those are, to your point, Councillor Dignan, like, those are the things that, when we met with them, heck, in July, I think it was, or even June or July, when we met with the consultants to talk about the plan, the plan sounded good at the time, and like, I think that the timing perhaps didn't work out great, but again, there's only so much time that you can do it, right?
Yeah, and I do think we need to recognize too, we are still, dealing with cases of COVID and dealing with a population that is wary about coming out to, to gather in groups.
I think more to my point though, where something sent in the
Yeah.
mail
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
is,
the reflections could
Yeah.
have been a good tool for that as too.
yeah,
Yeah.
The
exactly.
Richmond reflections, we could have taken a whole page out on that probably,
Yeah.
to really hammer it home.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thanks for your work on that, folks. I know it was quite a lot of effort to get there, so, yeah.
I know we'll be coming back before the date with difference of opinions and different numbers and
Yeah.
different options. And I guess the only thing I would ask is that all council keep in mind that, it's for the best of the county and the best of your districts and the best overall that we think is gonna suit everybody.
Of course, that's what everybody's
Absolutely.
intentions are always.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, no, yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So any other updates on that? Okay, so we'll open her up now for a 15-minute question period. And this is not restricted to items on the agenda. For folks watching at home, if you would like to call in, the phone number is 902-226-9885. And we'll open that for a maximum of 15 minutes. So it's 902-226-9885, or if there are members from the gallery who would like to come up and ask questions too, I don't want to name any names, but you're more than welcome. Okay, we'll just leave that open for a few minutes because I know there's a slight delay with the Telile broadcast.
Councillor Sampson will be able to tell us how long that delay is. He's watching at home.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I think we'll call it. Thank you, Shelley, for being on guard to answer the phone should it ring. So we'll call it on question period, and I'll look for a motion to move us in camera, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Mike Digdon has seconded the motion that the meeting move to in camera. So all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right. So